Today I will start. Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 8, prayers by Queen Kunti and Parikshit saved, verses 1 to 18. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Sutta Uvacha Atha te samparatanam Svanamudakam Ichchatam Datum Sakrishna Gangayam Purakstriya Yayuhu Striyaha.
Hare Krishna. Sutta Goswami said, therefore, the Pandavas, desiring to deliver water to the dead relatives who had desired it, went to the Ganges with Draupadi. The ladies walked in front.
Teni niyodakam sarve vilapya cha brisham punaha apluta haripadabja rajaha puta sarijjale.
Having lamented over them and sufficiently offered Ganges water, they bathed in the Ganges, whose water is sanctified due to being mixed with the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord.
Tatrasinam kurupatim dhritarashtram sahanujam gandharim putra shokartam pritham krishnam cha madhavaha.
There sat the king of the Kurus, Maharaj Yudhishthira, doing along with his younger brothers, and Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Kunti, and Draupadi, all overwhelmed with grief. Lord Krishna was also there.
Santva yamasha munibhir hatah bandhun sucharpitam bhuteshu kalasya gatim darshayanna pratikriyam.
Citing the stringent laws of the Almighty and their reactions upon living beings, Lord Shri Krishna and the Munis began to pacify those who were shocked and affected.
Sadha itva jata shatruha svam rajyam kitavairhitam ghata itva sato rajnyaha kacha sparsha kshyatayushaha.
The clever Duryodhan and his party cunningly usurped the kingdom of Yudhishthira, who had no enemy. By the grace of the Lord, the recovery was executed, and the unscrupulous kings who joined with Duryodhan were killed by him. Others also died, their duration of life having decreased for their rough handling of the hair of Queen Draupadi.
Yaja itva swamedhaistam tribhir uttama kalpakaiha tadyashaha pavanam dikshu shatah manyor ivatanot.
Lord Shri Krishna caused 3 well-performed Aswamedha yagnas, horse sacrifices, to be conducted by Maharaj Yudhishthira, and thus caused his virtuous fame to be glorified in all directions, like that of Indra, who had performed 100 such sacrifices.
Amantrya panduputramscha sainye yodhava samyutaha Dvaipayana dibhir vipraiha pujitaiha pratipujitaha.
Lord Shri Krishna then prepared for his departure. He invited sons of Pandu, after having been worshipped by the Brahmanas, headed by Srila Vyasadeva. The Lord reciprocated greetings.
Gantum kritamatir brahman dvarakam rathamasthitaha upalebhe bidhavantim uttaram bhaya vivvalam.
As soon as he seated himself on the chariot to start for Dwarka, he saw Uttara hurrying towards him in fear.
उत्तरोवाच पाहि पाहि महायोगिन् देवदेव जगत्पते नान्यं त्वदभयं पाश्ये यत्र मृत्युः परस्परम्.
Uttara said, O Lord of Lords, Lord of the universe, you are the greatest of mystics. Please protect me, for there is no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality.
अभिद्रवति मामीशा शरस्तप्तायसो विभो कामं दहतु मां नाथ मामे गर्भो निपात्यताम्.
O my Lord, you are all powerful. A fiery iron arrow is coming towards me fast. My Lord, let it burn me personally if you so desire. But please do not let it burn and abort my embryo. Please do me this favor, my Lord.
सूत उवाच उपधार्य वचस्तस्य भगवान् भक्तवत्सलः अपाण्डवम् इदं कर्तुं द्रोणेरस्त्रम् अबुध्यत.
Sutta Goswami said, having patiently heard her words, Lord Shri Krishna, who is always very affectionate to his devotees, could at once understand that Aswathama, the son of Dronacharya, had thrown the Brahmastra to finish the last life in the Pandavas' family.
तर्ह्येवाथ मुनिश्रेष्ठ पाण्डवाः सायकान् आत्मनोऽभिमुखान् दीप्तान् आलक्ष्यास्त्राणि स्त्राण्युपददुः.
O foremost among the great thinkers, Munis, Sonaka, seeing the glaring Brahmastra proceeding towards them, the Pandavas took up their 5 respective weapons.
व्यसनं वीक्ष्य तत्तेषाम् अनन्यविषयात्मनां सुदर्शनेन स्वस्त्रेण स्वानां रक्षां व्यधाद् विभुः.
The Almighty Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, having observed that a great danger was befalling his unalloyed devotees, who were fully surrendered souls, at once took up his Sudarsana disc to protect them.
अन्तः स्तः सर्वभूतानाम् आत्मयोगेश्वरो हरिः स्वमायायावृणोद्गर्भं वैरात्यः कुरुतन्तवे.
The Lord of Supreme Mysticism, Sri Krishna, resides within everyone's heart as the Paramatma. As such, just to protect the progeny of the Kuru dynasty, he covered the embryo of Uttara by his personal energy.
यद्यप्यस्त्रं ब्रह्मशिरस्त्वमोघं चाप्रतीक्रियं वैष्णवं तेज आसाद्य समासा समासां यद्भृगुद्वः.
O Sonaka, although the supreme Brahmastra weapon released by Aswathama was irresistible and without check or counterance, it was neutralized and foiled when confronted by the strength of Vishnu, Lord Krishna.
मामंस्था यतद् आश्चर्यं सर्वाश्चर्यमयेच्युते य इदं मायया देव्या सृजत्यावतिहन्त्यजः.
O Brahmanas, do not think this to be especially wonderful in activities of the mysterious and infallible personality of Godhead. By his own transcendental energy, he maintains and annihilates all material things, although he himself is unborn.
ब्रह्म तेजो विनिर्मुक्तैर् आत्मजैः सह कृष्णया प्रयाणाभिमुखं कृष्णम् इदम् आह पृथा सती.
Thus saved from the radiation of the Brahmastra, Kunti, the chaste devotee of the Lord, and her 5 sons and Draupadi addressed Lord Krishna as he started for home.
कुन्ती उवाच नमस्ये पुरुषं त्वाद्यम् ईश्वरं प्रकृतेः परम् अलक्ष्यं सर्वभूतानाम् अन्तर्बहिरवस्थितम्.
Srimati Kunti said, "O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you because you are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything, yet you are invisible to all."
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mamta Mataji, Deepak Prabhu.
Please forgive Prabhuji, little bit mistakes are there. Please
Only you can find those mistakes. It was perfect for us, Mataji. Thank you so much. Thank you, Deepak Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I'll share my screen for the verse of the day. So we are discussing verse number 12, chapter 8, canto 1. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Nashta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. Verse. Tarhe Vatha Muni Shrestha Pandava Panchasayakam Atmanobi Mukhan Diptam Alakshastrani Padadu. Tarhe Vatha Muni Shrestha Pandava Panchasayakam Atmanobi Mukhan Diptam Alakshastrani Padadu. Alakshastrani Padadu. Word for word. Tarhi, then. Eva, also. Atha, therefore. Munishrestha, O chief amongst the Munis. Pandavaha, all the sons of Pandu. Pancha, 5. Sayakan, weapons. Atmanaha, own selves. Abhimukhan, towards. Diptan, glaring. Alaksha, seeing it. Astrani, weapons. Upadaduhu, took up. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada. Translation. O foremost among the great thinkers, Munis, Saunaka, seeing the glaring Brahmastra proceeding towards them, the Pandavas took up their 5 respective weapons. Purport. The Brahmastras are finer than the nuclear weapons. Ashwathama discharged the Brahmastra simply to kill the Pandavas, namely the 5 brothers headed by Maharaj Yudhishthira and their only grandson, who was lying within the womb of Uttara. Therefore, the Brahmastra, more effective and finer than the atomic weapons, was not as blind as the atomic bombs. When the atomic bombs are discharged, they do not discriminate between the target and others. Mainly the atomic bombs do harm to the innocent people. Mainly the atomic bombs do harm to the innocent because there is no control. The Brahmastra is not like that. It marks out the target and proceeds accordingly without harming the innocent. Hare Krishna. We'll chant the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Tadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsa Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Avadhutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sa He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhana Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adigaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Mukham Karoti Vachalam Angham Langhaite Girim Yatkripattamaham Vande Shri Gurudev Taranam Varmananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyeshwaram. Hare Krishna devotees, thank you so much for being here in this evening. Good time of the year, quiet time. A lot of us are away from work. It's a good time to meditate, read, and hear Krishna Katha. So we are on this verse number 12, where we go a little back and we go what's going on there. So Uttara is come running to Krishna, asking for protection. Tarovache pahi pahi mahayogin deva deva jagatpate nanyam tvad bhayam pashe yatra mrityu parasparam. Uttara said, O Lord of the Lords, Lord of the universe, you are the greatest of mystics. Please protect me, for there is no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality. This is Uttara's response to the Brahmastra that was thrown by Ashwatthama. And she could see it as coming, and she could see the intention of that. And she's asking for protection from the Lord because she cannot find anyone else who can protect in this deadly or dangerous situation. She goes on, oh my Lord, you're all powerful. A fiery iron arrow is coming towards me fast. My Lord, let it burn me personally if you so desire. But please do not let it burn and abort my embryo. Please do me this favor, my Lord. So Uttara, her husband Abhimanyu, who died in the war. So as per the old, this is what it says here, tradition, normally wives would also throw themselves in the fire when their husband is dead. And because Uttara was pregnant, she had a child in her womb. She had not done that. And so she was now asking for protection from the Lord, not for herself, but for the child that was in her womb. And on the 11th verse, Sutta Goswami says, having patiently heard her words, Lord Sri Krishna, who is always very affectionate to his devotees, could at once could at once understand that Ashwatthama, the son of Dronacharya, had thrown the Brahmastra to finish the last life in the Pandava family. And then we come to the praise verse. Tarhe Vatha Muni Shrestha Pandava Panchasayakan Atmano Vimukhan Diptan Laksha Strani Padadu. O foremost among the great thinkers, Muni Shaunaka, Sutta Goswami speaking, seeing the glaring Brahmastra proceeding towards them, the Pandavas took up their 5 respective weapons. The Pandavas, now in this verse, this is the Pandavas. What was their reaction to the Brahmastra that was coming towards them? So it seemed like Ashwatthama had released 6 Brahmastra, one for the Parikshit Maharaj and Uttara, and other 5 for the 5 Pandavas, because Ashwatthama had taken a vow to kill all the Pandavas. He had given that promise to his master, Duryodhana. Actually, he did something earlier as well. In the Mahabharata war, we'll discuss briefly about how Dronacharya was killed. Rishtadimnya was born to kill us, Dronacharya. But Dronacharya was a great fighter, Brahmin, well aware of all the Shastras, and he learned from no one else but was I here? Sorry. Parashar. No, sorry. Parshuram. I'm so sorry. Clouded brain. Parshuram. So he had learned the art of archery from the best of the best. And there was no one on the battlefield who could defeat him. And he was killing all the Pandavas' sides, soldiers in hundreds and thousands. With every arrow that he was releasing from his bow, that arrow will multiply exponentially and will kill. And one day he was on a rampage, as they say. He was just killing them all. And then Lord Krishna decided that, it's time that Dronacharya is killed. Dronacharya had said before that nothing could discourage him in that war, but only if he hears that his son is dead, son Ashwatthama. So a plan was devised, and Bhima was asked to kill an elephant called Ashwatthama. And Yudhishthira Maharaj was somehow convinced, will not go into detail, but somehow convinced, say that Ashwatthama is dead, the elephant. He said quietly, just when he said that, the elephant, Lord Krishna blew the conch so loudly nobody could hear. So everyone could just hear that Ashwatthama is dead. So hearing that, Drona left his will to fight any further. He sat down, meditating on the Lord within his heart. And at that time, Rishtadimna, taking the opportunity that he was not fighting, he runs to Drona and takes out his sword and cuts his head. It is said that actually Drona left his body even before Rishtadimna could harm his body. But it was very horror scene. None of the Pandavas or anyone approved of that sort of killing of Drona. And when Ashwatthama was made aware of that, he became very disturbed. And Duryodhana made sure that the news is creating sufficient anger or an extreme vengeance in the heart of Ashwatthama. So Ashwatthama at that time decided to release Narayanastra. So he did that. And the nature of the Narayanastra is nothing can come in between. So if it is discharged at the opposite side, it was just, killing everyone who was standing there. So Lord Krishna, being the knower of everything, his own Shastra, Narayanastra was released. So he asked all the Pandavas, Arjun, to just lie down, surrender to the weapon. And he asked all the soldiers on the Pandava side to just lie down wherever they are. They should just give up their weapons and they should just lie down on the ground, surrendered. The Narayanastra sees the surrendered situation, then it does not do any harm. Bhima also was somehow brought down. He was not initially willing to do that, but somehow Arjun and Krishna pulled him on the ground, and he also was protected. So Ashwatthama was quite famous for doing this, or infamous, whatever, for doing these types of nasty things, using the most dangerous weapons not to be used in a battlefield like this. And now he is, he's discharged again, Brahmastra, pointing to the 5 Pandavas and Uttara's womb. Now we know the Lord will protect them. Lord is the protector of his devotees. This is the nature of the Lord. So I'm going to repeat a few points that I heard from the class by His Holiness Bhakti-Vigyan Goswami Maharaj yesterday. Won't be as good a repeat, but I'll try to use some points that he was making in the class. Very beautiful, amazing. So he was explaining, it is the nature of the Lord to protect his devotees. It is like everyone has a nature. We do things as per our nature, as per our sabhav. We like something, we don't like something else, or we like one person or the other person, or we like one situation, not like the other situation. We have all these dualities in the mind. Lord also is a person, he has a personality. And his personality, his nature is to always protect his devotees, always protect anyone who has taken his shelter. Also the pastime of Vibhishan within the Ramayana. Vibhishan was the brother of evil Ravana, and Vibhishan tried his best to convince Ravana to return Mother Sita to Lord Ram, but Raman could not be convinced. So Vibhishan made a decision to leave Ravana and take shelter of the Lord. So he leaves Lanka and comes over to the camp where Lord Ram was staying with his army of monkeys. As Vibhishan approached Lord Ram for shelter, he comes at the edge of the camp. He announces to the monkey soldiers that he wants to surrender. He wants to meet the Lord. The monkeys are suspicious of this brother of Ravana. He cannot be trusted. Demons cannot be trusted. That's what monkeys were thinking. But since he has come, it was their duty to take the report to Lord Ram. So the monkeys go to the Lord Ram and say that there's this brother of Ravana has come and he wants to take your shelter, wants to surrender. So Lord Ram asks, so what should we do? The monkeys are convinced, most of them, that it is easy question, easy answer. The brother of a demon. We are here to destroy, annihilate all the demons here. And we don't know, we can't trust this person. We don't know what he will do, what sort of mystical weapons he will come release, or what he will do. We cannot trust this person. He should be immediately killed. So a lot of them were saying, okay, he should be killed. Yes, definitely he should be killed. Then Lord asks Hanumanji as to what does he think. Hanumanji had already visited Lanka before when he was trying to find out the location of Mother Sita. And he'd seen the experience of vision. So he said, no, I've seen Vibhishan and he seems to be a good man. I think we should not kill him. He's a good man. I'm convinced. I've seen him. And that's why we should not kill. So Lord Ram made an interesting statement. There's a nice verse also, I can't remember at the moment. It was what he said was primarily, oh, Lord said that we will definitely, I will not kill him. And I will give him shelter. And not because I don't agree he is bad, or not because I agree he is good. It's because he has taken shelter. This is the nature of the Lord. Whoever takes his shelter, he will always give them the shelter and protect them. In fact, there's something interesting Maharaj said was when Lord Ram was said, Ravana's brother, so first the Ravana was used, has come for shelter. The Lord instantly thought it's Ravana who's come for shelter. He was ecstatic just to know that Ravana has come for shelter. And this is the nature of the Lord. Lord always wanted Ravana to come and take shelter, and Lord would forgive him of all his mistakes, all his faults. That is the heart of the Lord. The Lord always forgives. And particularly when someone has taken the shelter of the Lord, then the Lord is specifically merciful. There was another story I was mentioned, beautiful story from Sri Sampradaya. There was a devotee called Parashar. And something interesting happened with him. There was a hunter, and the hunter's job is normally to hunt in the forests. So this hunter was, as usual, hunting, and he happens to catch a rabbit. A rabbit had no other way to escape. So rabbit was completely locked in. So hunter was saying to Parashar, he said, something very interesting happened with me that I must share with you. I've come looking for you. So probably you can interpret, you can understand this. It is, my job is to hunt. My job or my life is to kill animals and then trade or do whatever I do with them. But today, I did not kill a rabbit. And then what happened? He said something very interesting. This rabbit that I caught, this rabbit was doing something unique. He would go around me, just round and round, and he would put his head on my feet. Yeah, so put his head on my feet. And he would then again go around and again put his head on his feet. So he was doing as if taking shelter. So by his act, by the rabbit's act, even the hunter, he felt mercy. And he immediately released him. He said, I've never experienced this before, how this rabbit acted in this way. And by the act of his taking a shelter or fully surrendering unto me, I just naturally felt like I should release this. I should have some mercy upon this little animal. So I released him. So as soon as Parashar heard that, he first of all cried. Actually, he had tears in his eyes. He went in some transcendental ecstasy, and he felt unconscious immediately. And then the devotees somehow, brought him back to consciousness and asked him what happened. What was that touched him so much, or that he had such tears in his eyes, and he actually fell unconscious. So Parashar made a very interesting point, as Maharaj will explain. He said, now see this is very interesting. By taking shelter, even hunter, let his animal go. Let that little rabbit go away. Because that rabbit created a feeling of mercy within the heart, invoked. So this is the definition of what is a true surrender. Surrender is like when the one who is surrendering, by his attitude, by his expression, by his action, invokes mercy upon the one who can protect. That is surrender. So now this hunter had never made a promise that whoever takes my shelter, I will protect, I will save them. He's never said anything like that. His nature is to hunt, his nature is to kill. Now our Lord has a nature to protect, to give his shelter. How wonderful is this? Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma sucha. The Lord has made a promise. Ma sucha, do not worry. Mokshayishyami ma sucha. I will give you liberation. I will release you from all the sins. The only thing is, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. To me alone you surrender. And then the Lord would give all the protection to his devotees. The Lord has actually made that promise, and Lord is the nature. So how it is that the living entities are still not surrendering? We are suffering in this material world. We are all suffering in the material world, but we are not surrendering. Surrendering, then the definition of surrender comes in. Has to surrender in a way that invokes mercy in the heart of the Lord. So we will now discuss briefly the protection and surrender. We always discuss this 3 points. So the surrender actually is also 2 ways that devotees, when they develop some Shraddha and they start to follow the rules and regulations, the 2 ways the surrender comes in the life of devotee. One is, Maharaj, this is all from Maharaj's class, sorry. One is through the, actually he was quoting Jiva Goswami there. So one is when a devotee reads scriptures and he understands the process of surrender and the nature of the Lord, and he's convinced, yes, this is what I should do, and he surrenders. The other way is when a devotee sees a pure devotee's activities and he develops that faith and he surrenders unto the pure devotee of the Lord, and then he takes shelter of the Lord. So there are 2 ways he was explaining. One is through the scriptures, another is following or surrendering unto the pure devotee of the Lord. By surrendering unto the devotee, we understand how to surrender unto the Lord, because we observe the pure devotee's activities, and we learn from them, and then we surrender unto them, and then we follow the process of surrendering to the Lord. And then the Lord protects his devotees from 3-fold miseries: Adi Atmik, Adi Daivik, Adi Bhautik, in all situations. And there are many ways. Many ways Lord protects his devotees. He comes in many forms, in many ways. He's sitting within the heart of every living entity. Whenever a living entity, a jiva, looks towards the Lord, he makes arrangement. And Lord has also come as Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord has come across as Srimad Bhagavatam. And Lord is also in his holy name. And Lord appears as the Guru, spiritual master or sadhu. He comes in so many ways. He makes arrangement for the protection and for the to create a situation for a devotee to take shelter of the Lord, to surrender unto him. And there are so many examples. Now we are seeing this, what's going on at the moment is Uttara is now taking full shelter of the Lord. We saw only a few verses, or maybe in the previous chapter, Arjuna taking shelter of the Lord. Again, Brahmastra was released previously. And Arjuna took shelter of the Lord, and Lord then guided him as to how he should act in that situation. He should release his own Brahmastra to counter or nullify the Brahmastra released by Ashwatthama. So Lord does that all the time to his devotees, to whoever takes his shelter, always. And there are so many, in Indra Adidevic situations. Indra was, had discharges among the clouds, and the Lord lifted Govardhan, held the beautiful Leela of that. And as now we're saying, obviously, the Dhritarashtra's sons of Dhritarashtra so many times attacked a Pandu's son of Pandu, and Lord protected him in so many ways. Lord protected Draupadi also. So all the devotees take shelter of the Lord, and they get their protection. So how to receive protection? Now, what is the nature of Lord? We understood that Lord's nature is to protect his devotees. And now, it's the devotees as to how do we take shelter. We've seen the examples. The whole of Srimad Bhagavatam is full of examples. You can just go on and on and on. Every example is the same, how devotees have taken shelter of the Lord in various situations, and how Lord is protected. So how do we take shelter? How do we surrender to the Lord? That's also explained by the Acharyas. There's this famous verse from Hari Bhakti Vilas. Anukulyasya sankalpaha Pratikulasya vivarjanam rakshashati iti vishwaso gopatitve varnam tatha atmanikshepa karpanya chadvida saranagati. So anukulyasya sankalpa, accept what is favorable, and pratikulyasya vivarjanam, reject what is unfavorable. So now this is to be understood as to what is it meant by accept what is favorable or reject what is unfavorable. Normally it is our mind which takes the call as to accepting and rejecting anything, accept what is favorable. Okay, Ekadashi is favorable, but then the mind starts to convince us why it is favorable. Oh, it's good for health. History Ayurveda says that we should be fasting once in every 15 days. There are so many proofs. Even Japanese have agreed fasting is good for us. This person agreed. That scripture, that newspaper has come up. This yoga teacher has come up this idea that, now see, all the time we understood that how fasting is good for us. And this is how we hear from the world outside and say, this is, we have always knew. The mind says, oh, see, you've been doing this. Now you scientists have understood how it is good for health and how it is, protecting my body. So this is not the way to understand this. This is our mind telling us what is right, what is wrong. But we do what is favorable as per Krishna's own words in the scriptures, in the words of Sadhu and Shastra. So we do Ekadashi because Lord wants us to do Ekadashi, wants us to fast. We follow certain rules because Lord wants us to follow. And we offer to the Lord Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam because the Lord has asked clearly in Bhagavad Gita. This is all He expects. So there is no need to create or devise our own plan. But the mind is always like that, as to to what is good for me, because this we are mostly in the attitude of self-absorption. This is about attitude. What is our attitude? So it is easy to surrender externally. We can do external all the activities to show that how we are surrendered, and we can convince ourselves, or maybe we can convince the other people that how we are surrendered, our devotees. But internally, it is difficult. Internally, it's difficult to adopt something or do something favorable because it is something that will please Krishna. So, how many times in a day I was all my own, introspecting myself to how many times do we think or do activities in the day that would please Krishna, that would please Guru. So we have to do that. So we do accept what is favorable for performing bhakti, and we reject what is unfavorable, so what is against. So the nature is normally what is most unfavorable is normally self-absorption, because we have this condition, all of us, not all of us, maybe some of you, not most of us, this tendency to always think how great I am, how great my forefathers were, how great my children are. That's constantly going on in our mind. So we are where our mind is. Our mind is focusing on, whatever situation comes. For example, often some devotee says something, and how the nature is that we always take that situation and apply it in our own life. Even before we actually, I was hearing in the class, and I can also relate to it. And when someone is saying about something or someone, our immediate attention goes to ourselves as to, okay, some person is talking about their friend, so we talk about our friend, and okay, what happened? Oh, this is my friend there, or my relation there, or this and that. Our mind immediately goes in our own thoughts, in our own zone. And so our mind is always acting in that. It's always self-absorbed. Is rarely it is. Maybe I don't know when does that happen that suddenly we think, oh, I was thinking of Krishna, I was thinking of something else. So what is unfavorable is all those things that is taking away from thoughts of Krishna. It is difficult in the conditioned state, but this is what surrender is. This is where, as we were discussing in the previous class, Pandavas in all situations, when they were in the forest and they were suffering and they'd gone through so much, but they were still happy. They were still talking about Krishna in the forest, in the extreme austerity also. This is what Narad Muni said is most wonderful, that they were always discussing about Krishna. Yeah. Now they were not thinking whether this is an unfavorable situation created, or so I should not be here. Why am I here? Why do they do this? They're just, as soon as they go in the natural position, they start to glorify Krishna, talk about Krishna. So this tendency of self-absorption is unfavorable. But and this is all the activities of mind. So Maharaj was saying, this is the purification of mind. So when we accept what is favorable and we reject unfavorable, anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya vivarjanam. So we're rejecting unfavorable, accepting favorable is the activity of mind, because it's the job of mind to accept and reject. And when we do that, when we surrender our mind, our thoughts, feeling, willing, and thinking for the Lord and His devotees, and that is the purification of mind. So this process of surrender is primarily for our own purification of mind, purification of intelligence, and purification of false ego. And then second is Rakshasati Vishwaso Gopatitva Varanam. So Lord as protector and maintainer. So we use our own intelligence as to how we can protect ourselves, how our relatives can protect us, or how our friends can protect us, how our body can protect us, or how we can protect our body. and how we can maintain ourselves. We are always devising plans. Some devotees is famous. We say that there is never a material solution to material problem. We always try to find the how I can solve this problem or that problem. And every morning when we start chanting, the first thing comes is how many problems I'm going to solve today, how many problems were created yesterday, and the solution starts. The mind starts. The moment we give our intelligence a free way, a highway, it starts to run. It starts to say, okay, how am I going to solve all my problems today? How can I protect myself? Who's going to protect me? And who's going to maintain me today? Is this employer maintaining me? Is a customer maintaining me? Who's maintaining me? This is where the intelligence goes. Yeah. What medicine can I take? What yoga can I do? Or what can I do somehow to protect myself, to maintain myself? Yeah. But then when we understand it is the Lord who is the protector, it's the Lord who is the maintainer, and that purifies our intelligence. And remind ourselves again that we have to always depend on the Lord for protection. He is the only one. It says that in the previous verse, as Uttara was saying, you are the only one who can protect in the material, in this situation, this dangerous situation. So this is the nature of the Lord, and this is our surrender. So this is all 6 limbs of surrender. So when we accept Lord as the only protector, and we have the confidence, Rakshistati iti vishwaso. We have confidence that Lord will definitely protect me. We have confidence that we have full faith that Lord will maintain us. This is what will purify our intelligence. And then the third set of 3 is complete Atmanikshepa and Karpanya. Atmanikshepa means complete submission to the Lord. Lord, like Bali Maharaj, full surrender to the Lord, complete submission. Although his spiritual master Shukra was saying that he should not do this. This is Lord Vishnu coming here. He's going to take all his position and he'll lose everything. But Bali Maharaj could not be convinced. He was fully focused on this, on surrendering to the Lord fully. And one should always feel oneself as meek and humble. In that condition, and it is also saying from Bible, only the meek and humble receives the mercy of the Lord, something like that. It's meek and humble. When we feel meek and humble, means we are humility. Again, humility means thinking not less of oneself, but thinking less about oneself. This is the real humility, as Prabhupada explained in one place. Thinking less about oneself. So these are the 6 ways that we have to perfect our surrender unto the Lord. And then we have perfected the surrender, then the Lord's protection is guaranteed. To the degree that we are surrendering, that degree Lord is protecting us. He's not being unfair, so he's been fair, and he only gives what he asks for, and how we express ourselves or how surrender ourselves to the Lord and his devotees. So I think it's time now, 2040. So maybe in 5 minutes, any questions or comments or corrections or complaints?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
And Pranam, thank you for a wonderful class on surrender. I was just...
It was a bad repeat of Maharaj's class.
Sorry, no, wonderful, absolutely. It's always nice to re-listen to things. Yes, definitely. I was just thinking how the whole concept of surrender and how the Lord gives us shelter. It reminds me of that past time when Lord Ram was walking in the forest and he had the thorns in his feet.
Oh.
And he was bleeding. And Lakshmanji said, well, why don't I take the thorns out so that you stop bleeding? And Shri Ram says that, no, but they've taken shelter at my lotus feet. So
Wow.
how can I remove them? And you're thinking, how merciful the Lord is. Even though his feet were hurting, he was still giving shelter to the thorns. So
Oh,
that is how the
amazing.
Lord is.
That's amazing.
That is how the Lord is, isn't it? If we desire to take shelter of him,
Yeah,
then he gives it to us, definitely.
that's amazing. That's very nice. What a
Yeah.
Dharma. That's
It
amazing.
reminded me of Bhakti Vinod Thakur's Manas Deho Geho, is that you surrender everything to you, Lord. Yes. Wonderful class. Thank you, Prabhuji. Lot
Thank
of food for thought. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Deepak Prabhu. And Mamta Mataji once again was very nice to say additionally. So, any further comments or corrections? Shailesh Prabhu or anyone else?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Please accept me Dhanavad Pranam. It is again regarding the Brahmastra and how Krishna actually, how specific the Brahmastra is, and how
Oh,
advanced
yes.
they are.
Yes. Thank you very much.
And comparing to what atomic bombs we have. I mean,
Yes.
we feel like, we are so much behind. Obviously, they were so much advanced in every technology ever.
Yes.
And this Brahmastra is so nice that it doesn't destroy anybody else. It goes and destroys the target, which is so specific they are. But
Yeah.
then again, how Krishna actually again breaks his vow and then goes and protects, even though he's not supposed to, even though his war is over still.
Yes. Thank you
I
for
think in
yes.
the purport somewhere it
Correct.
says, no, Prabhuji, it says that like, even though he doesn't, he breaks his vow, even though he didn't, if somebody can be say, no, I want to keep my vow, and for his morality, he can keep it up high, but Krishna love, for his sake of the love of his devotees, I think he will break his vow too. Something like that, Prabhuji.
Yes. Thank you so much. That was very nice point, Mataji. Thank you for the addition. Fantastic. Yes. 2 points you were making. Yes. The Brahmastra, how accurate they are. This is the difference between a gross weapons and this is a fine weapons. They are chanted, so the mantras they are evoked, and they are targeted to specific. This now here there are only 6 of them targeted. Nothing like this happens in the today's world of this atomic bombs and all that. Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport here so nicely. Yes, and obviously what you mentioned about the nature of the Lord. So he forgets his own vow to not fight. For him, protection of his devotee is higher than his own vows. Does not want to be. He's not. People can shame him, or people can say that how he broken his vow, but for him that's secondary. For him, primary is to protect his devotees. Thank you. Very nice.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, thank you so much. What a wonderful class on surrender. A really great class. Prabhuji, I apologize if I'm asking a silly question. But Prabhuji, how do you know that you've completely surrendered to Krishna? And the reason I ask this question, Prabhuji, is because there are days where I think if anything happens in life, I always say, yeah, it's by Krishna's mercy, or uh, or maybe this is how Krishna wanted. So how do I know, or how does anybody know that they've actually fully surrendered to Krishna?
How do we know that they're fully surrendered to Krishna?
Yes, Prabhuji, every single day and every single moment.
Yeah, because okay, I'll say what I think, and because we are in the sadhana stage, we sadhakas, practicing devotees. So saying before that, self introspection is the best. We can only, because we can't even judge anyone else. We don't know who's a pure devotee, who's not a pure devotee, who's sitting next to us. So many wonderful devotees here. I can only see the black and white screen there, some names, but there are so many pure devotees here, I don't know. And maybe when we go to temple, we don't know who is. But for ourselves, we have to do introspection. And this is where, a lot of devotees have mentioned about journaling and reflecting upon how we acted during the day, and also learning our own lessons as to if we did not act, which in a way, we were discussing about accept in a favorable way, or did we reject any unfavorable, or did we not reject any unfavorable? Did we accept all that was favorable, or did we have any of our own mental plans, speculations to maintain ourselves, protect ourselves? We have to do what we have to do anyway. Not saying that don't do anything, just depend on the Lord. But we will. I think this is something that we will know from ourselves. First of all, to the degree we start feeling happiness, the symptom of surrender is what? Because a child now knows that is fully protected. So if we feel that we are fully protected, then we will fearless. Yes. If we feel fearless, to the degree we feel fearless, to that degree we are surrendered. So we can judge ourselves. Do we still have fearing? Do we fear any situation in life? Then we can understand. If there is no fear, that means we have surrendered to the Lord, because there cannot be any fear when the fear itself is, like something like that, isn't it? Like it is afraid of the Lord. So there's nothing that can make a devotee fearful. Like Prabhupada was like, at that age of 70, coming to the West with heart attack and no money. He was fearless. It's inconceivable for us, what he did. So this is the example of a surrendered soul. And we see that, we can take that kind of situation in our life. We should not imitate great souls, devotees. They are different. But in our life, we can feel that how we are less and less attached to our own mind and our desires, and more we are fearless. And then we can understand our state of surrender. I think that probably makes sense.
Haribol, thank you, Prabhuji. I think the fearless bit, yeah, got it, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. That was a good question, actually. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanavad pranam. Thank you for a wonderful, wonderful class. Yes, thank you. Just on a slight addition to your wonderful comments on how do you know, well, Krishna gives us in the Gita a great list of qualities that his devotees should imbibe, and also those qualities should also be present, in our behavior, in our achara, in our vichara, in our prachara, in all those things. And that is when we know we're surrendered. A true devotee will never feel they're surrendered. They will always find fault in their achara, vichara, and prachara. That is a sign of a great devotee that says that he is surrendered is not surrendered. Great devotees that are surrendered will be basically.
That's a nice point. Yeah, yeah. Someone who says that, naturally. Someone who says that I'm humble.
Yeah.
It's like that.
And another wonderful points you made on Lord Ram, that reminded me also Vibhishan incident. Our acharyas write a lot of commentaries on that, and there's some expansions on that incident, which is wonderful as well, where when Vibhishan says he surrenders, Lord Ram says, I'll make you the king of Lanka. So they say, well, if you make him king of Lanka, he goes, well, what to speak of Vibhishan? If Ravan comes and surrenders, then I will make him king of Ayodhya.
Oh, wow.
And they said, what about what will happen to Bharat? Well, because Bharat I'll make him king of, he surrenders to me, I will make him king of Vaikuntha.
Wow.
So it says, if you become, where will you go, Lord? Well, he goes, then if that happens, then I will rule over the heart of Hanuman.
Wow. Never heard of that.
That's wonderful.
That's amazing.
areas of interaction he has. I've condensed it. It's much sweeter. I can't narrate these things so wonderfully, but that incident is so wonderful in terms of how Lord Ram reacts. That even if Ravan surrenders, I will make him the king of Ayodhya.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So some very beautiful points on
Very
how
beautiful.
merciful the Lord is in terms of his magnanimity, in terms of acceptance. The only time where the Lord will hesitate on accepting our surrender is that if we've created Vaishnava Prad, of course. So that is why Vaishnava Prad is such a major point that we should always be wary of, because then the Lord will not forgive.
Yeah.
So we should be conscious of these offenses as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you for a wonderful class.
Thank you. Well, wonderful points, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hey, it's 10 to 9. Thank you so much, dear devotees. Granthala Srimad Bhagavad Purana ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha
Patrubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. Very nice class.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for wonderful
Very nice
class.
class. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Very
Prabhuji.
nice.
Wonderful class. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Excellent class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Bye.